There we go. All right. I'd like to call to order the August 12th, 2025 regularly scheduled board meeting of the Richland 2 Board of Trustees. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Richland 2 School District 2 Board of Trustees, I would like to welcome you to our regularly scheduled meeting this Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. As always, we are grateful for the continued engagement and support of our students, families, staff, and community members. Tonight, we look forward to conducting the important business of the district and working together to ensure we remain a school district committed to growth and excellence in education. To our teachers, staff, and leaders this week, this is a new week. Thank you for your dedication, creativity, and tireless effort to ensure that our students are not only learning, but thriving. In the spirit of my favorite book, The Energy Bus, I am reminded of John Gordon's words, "Your positive energy and vision must be greater than anyone and everyone's negativity." As a board, as educators, and as a community, let's commit to driving our bus with purpose, unity, and optimism, ensuring every student we serve has a seat, feels valued, and is headed toward success. We appreciate your presence and participation both online and in person. Now, if you would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The agenda for tonight's meeting has been published and made available publicly. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Washington.
I move to approve the agenda for the August the 12th, 2025 regular board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Washington and seconded by Mrs. Porter to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All right, once that is on the screen, if your motion is correct, Ms. Washington? Yes. All right, board members, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. All right, items 4.1. We will move to item 4.1, executive session. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chair,
Dr. Elkin Scott?
I move to convene an executive session for the purpose of discussion employment recommendations and certified releases.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Dr. Elkin Scott and seconded by Ms. Washington to go into executive session. Is there any discussion? Dr. Elkin Scott, is your motion correct? All right, the motion.
Yes, it is.
The motion being correct, if board members now will please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. The board will now enter into executive session. May I have a motion to end executive session? Yes.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Trapp?
I move that we adjourn to executive session at 5:41 and resume public session.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp and seconded by Ms. Washington to end executive session at, I'm sorry, what was it? 5:41. Okay, 5:41 and resume public session. Is there any discussion? Okay, once that's on the screen. Mr. Trapp, is your motion correct?
That is correct.
All right, board members, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The vote passes. Motion passes. All right, 5.1, inspirational moment. We will now move on to inspirational moment. Ms. Tamika Washington will introduce this evening's guest to the board. Ms. Washington.
Good evening. Joining us this evening are members of the Spring Chorus from Bethel Hanbury Elementary School. Looking for them.
Are they outside?
Are they outside?
Oh, there it is.
Okay. The chorus is comprised of students in 4th and 5th grades, and the chorus is under the direction of Miss Cassandra Portee, who has been a music teacher at Bethel Hanbury for 37 years. The students will be performing one selection tonight entitled, "Put a Little Love in Your Heart." Please join me in welcoming Miss Cassandra Portee and the Bethel Hanbury Elementary School Choir.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope if you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a love in your heart. Put a love in your heart. Put a love in your heart.
Very nicely done. Thank you so much, Bethel Hanbury, for your participation tonight, and we truly enjoyed your performance and wish you guys have an amazing school year. Oh, hi. Oh, wait, we have more. what's happening? There we go. We will now move on to item 6.1, the consent agenda. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the consent agenda?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Washington.
I would like to remove item 6.5, the minority utilization plan, from the consent agenda for a separate discussion and vote.
Is there a second? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we got to do the first motion, so, I'm sorry. Sorry, hold on one second. I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry. Oh, can I have a motion for the consideration? For the consent agenda? Just the consent agenda, yeah. We'll vote on that one first. With the removal, the separation of the one. Yep. For discussion. She's going to separate. Yeah.
So the motion would be for the remaining items on the consent agenda. So the trustee making the motion will say, I move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, the classified employment releases and in-district transfers, and the local board approved courses. The board will take action on that motion and then come back to item 6.5 for separate consideration.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Washington.
I move to approve the consent agenda items that includes the minutes from the previous meeting, the classified employment releases and in-district transfers, and the local board approved course.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Washington and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion? As soon as we get on the screen, then we'll continue. Ms. Washington, is your motion correct? All right, her motion being correct, if everyone will please vote. Okay, perfect, thank you. The motion is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We'll now move to item 6.5, minority utilization plan. May I please have a motion regarding the minority utilization plan? And then we'll do a second for the discussion. Somebody has a second for the discussion. First and second.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Porter,
I move to approve the minority utilization plan.
is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Porter and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Dr. Elkin Scott?
Yes, thank you so much for allowing that to be a different line item. I think more of my discussion would be, I think it would have been great if this was more of a presentation than something that's placed in board doc. When we're thinking about the minority plan, our goal is to have at least 10% that we give to minority businesses. And I'm not sure if the public has had an opportunity to take a look at that, but we did not meet that. And I think the public, especially with taxpayers' money, instead of us having a conversation in the blind where people really don't have the information, it would have been great if that report had been something that we could have planned for one of our meetings to have the person actually come and be able to tell us why we haven't met it, what goals we have in place. Because to me personally, I think it's a shame that we can't meet a minority percentage of only 10%. And I don't think we're taking the time intentionally to make sure that we meet this. There are so many minority businesses that's out there. And if we're a district that say we value diversity and that we value everyone, then this should have been a very minute criteria to meet. And we did not meet that. And I think I would like to see us a little more intentional about hiring the construction companies and putting pressure on them like we used to do back in the day to say, if we're going to have business with you, then you're going to have to be very intentional about getting African-American painters, getting African-American plumbers, getting African-American whatever, because I think it's just a disgrace to the public that's watching, and even to us, because we just have this in board docs, but no presentation. So really, I wish we had just pulled this for a later time for a presentation, or if not, what I would like to see is more feedback tonight where either Dr. Moore or whoever she designate to come up here and speak about, first of all, what is the minority report? Because it may be people out there saying, well, what is that? Is that just something for black people? What is it? And we are able to share with them, no, what it is we have X amount of dollars. And we have decided that X amount of dollars will only go to minority businesses, and that means women, that means Hispanic. Thank you, Ms. Williams. You saw me like, yeah, Hispanic. Sharing it with the people so they can understand exactly what it is. So that's what I like for someone to do. Come and say, this is the report. This is what we didn't do. This is what we plan to do. And give us some kind of steps moving forward of how we're going to meet this goal. Because I think we've had these conversations quite some time. I know at least I've had that. And I've shared that I wanted to see a list of all of the minority contractors that we have. I mean, even when these schools, when they have different events at their school, they can use African-American caterers. So it's so many ways that we can meet this, and it's such a disappointment, not only as an African-American woman who's also a business owner, but as an African-American, that a school this large cannot meet a quota of only 10%. Thank you.
Ms. Williams?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I do voice a couple of concerns about us not meeting the quota. One is the fact that, again, let me see is that what are ways that we can educate everyone about how to go about in becoming a vendor or going through the procurement process. So one of my suggestions is that we have a workshop for how to go through the process with all of our, with anybody who could be eligible. Because I think some of the times that it's not that we don't have the people who have gone through the process to be able to pull from. And so because we don't have that, we fall in this category of not being able to use minority businesses. So how can we as a district come up with a solution to say, let's educate and be able to offer a workshop for the public and small businesses or just businesses in general or minority businesses about the process of going through becoming a vendor of ours so that we can even have them on a roster to select for if we are doing construction or if we're doing food or whatever it might be, because I think that might be a hindrance for a lot of reasons of why we didn't meet our quota. Not because we might not have tried, it might be we don't have enough people in those categories like roofing. Are there people minority businesses have applied and we can pull from, that have the qualifications to do so, but are, just offering those opportunities so that we can provide it so that they can be in our, show them how to go through the process of becoming a vendor.
You go ahead, Ms. Washington.
So, one, I agree with both what my colleagues said. In the action plan, I was looking more for some specific actions that we're going to take aligned to our goals, like what specifically in terms of outreach, other than the reverse vendor trade show. And then it would also be good to get an update, like what are we getting in terms of numbers from that? We've done it 2 years in a row. I remember being a vendor at one of the events, and so I don't know if we're discussing maybe going back to that option, because I did hear from a lot of businesses that that's what they were looking for, more so being able to, like a regular trade show, being able to set up their tables and be able to showcase and talk to, a variety of different departments and agencies or whatever. I also remember at that event where Richland County, City of Columbia, and someone from the state, they were there to help us as vendors understand what the procurement process is like and how you go through that process. So it ties into what the educational piece that Trustee Williams was saying. And so when I'm thinking of, are these the same things that we have been doing in the past? And what are some things that we're going to be doing different so that we can see those numbers increase? So that's what I was looking for more in the plan of what are those specific action steps that we're going to take? Like I think about our strategic plan. It has our goals and then the specific action steps that we're going to take as a district to be able to see those numbers increase. And then also giving the board feedback on why aren't we seeing those numbers go up? Like, why aren't we seeing more participants? What categories are low? Which ones are high? And that kind of thing. And so I know that in here it says that we're going to get a report twice a year, but I would prefer that we get an update more than just twice a year, so that way we know where we are as a board, because this is tied to our fiscal responsibility. So I would just like to see that information provided to the board. Thank you.
And I'll say just a couple of things. So we did have, we had a brief conversation about it. We were going to have this conversation with procurement when we did our procurement update, which I believe is coming up in September. And so we were going to have a more robust conversation around that. I do want to make sure, because I know we said African-American business. It is not just African-American business. I think that was just like an oversight, but I want to read that so everybody knows that it's not just African-American businesses, but a minority business means any United States citizen who's economically or socially disadvantaged. Socially disadvantaged individuals includes, but are not limited to, Black Americans, Hispanic, Native, including American Indians, Eskimos, Aleuts, Native Hawaiians, Asian Pacific Americans, and other minorities. Right, yes, well, I'm getting to that part. Economically disadvantaged individuals' ability to compete in free enterprise systems has been impaired due to diminished capital and credit opportunities. And then they give definitions of small business. And a long time ago, I say a long time ago, I'm not that old, but I worked on these type of programs, and being in the room when people were coming to say like, hey, we would like to be a part of this. And it is a very scary process because people are kind of intimidated by the idea of tax. And we might have 300 people show up at the seminar, but only 5 would put in applications, and we would be calling, trying to get them. And so that process, it is not a easy process, and that does, deter a lot of people. But of course, we want to encourage people to do that process. I do agree with the idea of having the workshop, things of that nature, and we can talk more about it. I think one of the bigger things for me is maybe if we did it quarterly, have like an update quarterly, so that we know, and we'll be able to say, hey, what can the board do to jump in and make sure that we're helping alongside you all in the community, saying, hey, and if we're at some of these events saying, hey, like, you guys, this is a great opportunity for your business, and being able to speak to that. So again, we were going to have a conversation about this when we were going to talk about it at procurement, so we can have a deeper workshop conversation where the board can give feedback and things of that nature. So it was on there. Don't think that we were dismissing it. It just was, this had to be talked about today, but it is on the agenda for that. Dr. Scott.
Yes, thank you so much for reading the definition, Madam Chair, because I think that's what the community needed to hear. But I think I would like to have this table, because we're getting ready to vote on something that we have too many questions about and unclear, and not steps of action. I mean, I want to see something more of an action plan, and what we have tonight is not that. And I think moving forward, we need to make sure that we are being proactive. So I'm not able to vote on this tonight because it's not enough information in there to show us exactly where the district is getting ready to move with this and how they plan to move and what types of steps are they going to use. Are they going back to, some of you guys have been here a long time, you know, are we moving back to those workshops so we can invite the public to come in just if they have never even considered? Now they know the process, which we used to do 3 times a year. Are we going back to going to the community? Or are we going back to asking people if you know any African-American businesses? Do you know any Hispanic businesses? Do you know women-owned businesses that you can give us names? So tonight, I am not ready to vote on something that we have not had a formal presentation or even a presentation or conversation with the superintendent to say, this is what we have, this is where we're going. I mean, I'm not going to vote on something just because it's in the board docs and you just want us to vote, but we've not had an educated conversation on it. So I would like to have this table and we discuss it. If not, then I'm not able to give my support this evening.
Dr. Moore,
Madam Chair.
did you have some? Dr. Moore?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to add some information for the public's benefit. As you've already outlined what the definition is, according to Section 5240 and the Richland 2 Procurement Code, we are required to have, or we are encouraged to have, 10%, at least 10% of our total dollars funded by certified minority businesses. And so the board also, in addition, when the referendum was passed, added 5% to the capital. We have exceeded that 5% for capital, and we're at 15.2% for capital. We're at 9.2% when you add certified and non-certified minority businesses together. But the statute requires it to be certified. And part of the challenge that we have faced, and I'm open to any suggestions to improve it, the reason we went to the reverse vendor model was because our vendors gave us that feedback, and their feedback has been very positive for the last 2 years that we've done that, is that one of the items we find that is challenging is what you mentioned, Ms. Nash. Our procurement executive director, Ms. Lawana Robinson Lee, she works with our non-certified vendors. She even calls the South Carolina department that's responsible. When we do our monthly check-ins, she just shared this with me. She had a vendor she's been working with. She called, she set up an appointment for him, had a person for him to meet with. The person from the department called her back to say, this person's never shown up. Now, we know it can be intimidating for some of our small business owners because they have to take a profit, their P&L list, their profit and loss list. They want to sit down with the owner of the business to go through that P&L. They want to talk to them about the business, what their business plan is. But Ms. Robinson Lee works with them. But we are always looking for opportunities to invest in our community, and therefore we're open to any such suggestions and recommendations that the board may have. But I didn't want the public to feel like we're not engaging minority businesses, because we are. We're at 9.2%. But the statute requires them to be certified, and that is why we're below, because of the number of certified versus non-certified. Thank you.
Dr. Elkin Scott?
Dr. Moore, thank you for that. If you can tell me, what is the percentage of African-American students that we have in this district?
I cannot tell you that number off the top
Can
of my head
someone
for this
help
school
her
year.
out? About 60% of African-American students, and we can't exceed 10%. Many of their parents are businesses. And we understand, because we don't want to act like people are ignorant to what's going on. We understand that we're at 9.2, possibly not true, but that's still no excuse. And when I worked in schools, and especially when I was a principal, I had behind my desk a sign that said no excuses. So I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for why we didn't meet it. Instead of making excuses for why we didn't meet it, let's have a discussion at a later time on ways we are going to meet and exceed. We sit here, and as an educator, we talk to our students and we talk about proficiency and we talk about exceeding the bar and we're talking about being premier, and then we're sitting here making excuses as to why we can't meet a 10% goal of African Americans, minority, women, Hispanic, whatever. That is a shame. Shame on us that we are sitting here giving every excuse as to why we couldn't meet a 10% minority plan, but then want us to vote on this tonight. And I hope my colleagues join me and have more discussion, more details about how we're going to move forward, because the taxpayers and the constituents are the reason why we're sitting here. And we can't keep going in making decisions or voting on items blindly. We can't do that, because when we do that, the public is going to lose credibility in us. And they're not going to lose it in me, because they know one thing about me: I'm going to speak up and I'm going to speak out. And that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm ashamed that we could not meet this. And I'm more ashamed that we're sitting here getting ready to vote on something that collectively we have not even had a conversation about. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. I totally understand, your passion for this. I think we all share the same passion of wanting to make this happen. But I would rather us focus on what we are going to do to fix it, because, this is something, again, like I said, I've been in this position of asking people, and it is a difficult task. It is a long road. That doesn't mean that we can't do it. 100%, we can absolutely do it, but it is going to take time. It is going to take a discussion. So the motion's on the floor. If you guys want to make a different motion, of course, but we'll vote on the motion that we have right now, and then if there's a different motion, we'll go from there.
I would love to ask Ms.
Well, we got to do the motion that's on the floor first.
Well, no, she can rescind her motion.
Well, if she decides to, but
yeah,
that's got
that's
to
what
be
I
her
was saying,
decision.
if she would like to rescind
Okay.
the motion.
All right, you do whatever you feel like doing. It's already been seconded.
Oh, it's already,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yes, so we'll go ahead and vote on that motion. Okay. All right, the motion is 2 yes, 5 no. The motion fails. Can I have another motion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Porter.
I move that we table this vote for another time so that our superintendent has time to add more actionable steps for the plan and revisit the vote.
Is it possible to say that we do it for our September meeting, one of our second, because that way do you have the date that we're doing for the procurement conversation? Do you remember that, Ms. Washington? Second meetings? Oh, it has to be done by the end of August, okay. Okay. Our next meeting is when? Okay, so can you put it for the 26th, and we will add it for that, because it is a workshop anyway. Well, we're going to do a conference.
I move to table this vote for
the
the August 26th meeting so that we can receive,
You just put August 26th meeting.
okay, for the August
We'll-
26th
yeah.
meeting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
She hasn't put it up yet. Okay, is that motion oh, yes. Is that correct, Ms. Porter?
I would just remove to approve. I move that we postpone the vote for the minority utilization plan until August 26th regular board meeting. So just remove the approve, move that we postpone. Okay? That's good.
All right, is there a second? Oh, sorry, there's a we. Oops, mine said error. I'm sorry, y'all. Did I mess up? Okay. Got it. Oh, I guess we're just waiting for the vote. Did everybody get vote? Okay, so we're just waiting for, oh, there it is. Okay. 7 yes, the vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. All right, we're going to move on now to item 7.1, public participation. We have three people signed up to address the board. You'll be given 3 minutes to address the board. To assist with timing, the lights on the table in front of me will change colors from green to yellow to red. When you have 30 seconds remaining, the light will turn yellow. When your time is up, the light will turn red, and you will hear an audible tone indicating your time to speak has expired. Before we begin, I will remind you that our meetings are streamed live and recorded. According to policy BEDH, comments from the public should not include gossip, defamatory words, or abusive and vulgar language. The policy also prohibits in public session any expression of personal complaints about individual school personnel or any other person connected with the school system. Specific student or personnel issues should be handled through the appropriate procedures as indicated in the district's policy. All right, first up we have Jermaine Mack. Jermaine Mack. Okay, all right. Dr. Anna Parrish.
Good evening. I begin by sharing a profound moment at the end of last school year. As we sat in our MLP district meeting, Dr. Sean Suber looked around the room, made eye contact with us, and said, "You are not replaceable." In that moment, he communicated the value of each individual. Yes, it is true that our positions can be replaced, but in those moments, he recognized our individual contributions within the district. It was powerful. I encourage every administrator to hold that view of your employees as irreplaceable because they will feel it when you do and when you don't. Your value of your employees ultimately impacts staff retention. Now I transition to the first 5 days of school at Pontiac. I saw many videos on social media of other schools within the district. At Pontiac, in grades kindergarten through 4th grade, along with Montessori, teachers had classroom phones, Wi-Fi, and working ClearTouch smartboards. Students had access to technology. However, in the 5th grade portables, there were no classroom phones, no Wi-Fi, and ClearTouch smartboards remained in their boxes during the first 3 days, also a safety hazard. As of today, there's still no Wi-Fi or classroom phones in the 5th grade portables where teaching and learning is expected. This was no fault of our administrators at Pontiac who put in work orders far in advance. In the spirit of continuous improvement, I ask some rhetorical questions. Would you be satisfied if your classroom's teacher did not have a classroom phone and could not make a call to the front office? Would you be satisfied if your child's class did not have a ClearTouch smartboard when other classes did? Would you be satisfied with your child's classroom not having Wi-Fi? 5th grade teachers in portables at Pontiac have had to teach like they were back in the 80s during the first days of this school year. And I'm pretty sure that in the 80s, there were classroom phones connected in the classrooms. Would everyone be content with this lack of technology at Lake Carolina? How about Forest Lake? As of today, we await many incomplete work orders at Pontiac with portable classrooms lacking the technology used for learning. There's no Wi-Fi for 5th grade, nor are there classroom phones. As someone observed the condition of the fifth grade portables last week, I heard them say, "What has happened to Richland 2?" And that was notable. They did not say what had happened to Pontiac. Rather, they recognized that Richland 2 is a reflection of, that Pontiac is a reflection of Richland 2. And when work orders are ignored, it reflects Richland 2. When teachers go without the technology they need, it is a reflection of Richland 2. And ultimately, it's recognized as a district deficit when classrooms are not in working order during the first 5 days of school. Every child deserves the same access to technology throughout the entirety of the school year, including the first 5 days. Fifth graders at Pontiac have not had that advantage. And I encourage you, communicate the value of your employees, as Dr. Suber has done in my department. Demonstrate your value of our students by ensuring that our classrooms are fully equipped for our students' learning. As of now, Pontiac awaits many incomplete work orders. Our students' success depends on the completion of these work orders. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Felicia Jones. Ms. Felicia Jones. Okay, we will now move on to item 8.0, voting on executive session items. Item 8.1, employment recommendation and certified releases. May I please have a motion regarding employment recommendations and certified releases?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Dennis?
I move to approve the employment recommendations and certified releases as presented with the exception of employee number 4 on page 1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Dennis and second by Dr. Elkins Scott. Is there any discussion? Oh, sorry, you got to put it on the thing and then your motion, once it's all. All right, Mr. Dennis, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, if there's no discussion, we will vote. Excuse me. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, I said that earlier, but they might have heard me. Yes, Mr. Dennis, that's correct, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. All right, board members, please vote. Oh, I didn't get it. You got it? Oh, I didn't. Did I do it too? Okay, all right. All right, 7 yes and 0 no, the motion passes. All right, can I have another motion for item 8.1?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Dennis.
I move to approve the employment recommendation for employee number 4 on page 1.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Dennis and second by Dr. Elkins Scott. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Ms. Porter?
Yes, I'd like to recuse myself for this vote due to a conflict of interest.
All right, noted. All right, and now, board members, if once it's on the screen, if your new motion will be correct. Mr. Dennis, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, board members, please vote. The motion is 6 yes, 1 abstain. The motion passes. All right, moving on to item 9.0, new business action requested. We're going to do item 9.1, approval of board committees for the 2025-2026 school year. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the board committees for the 2025-2026 school year?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Washington.
I move to approve the Finance, Policy, Student Support, Strategic Plan, and Operations Committees for the 25-26 school year.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Washington and second by Dr. Elkin Scott. Is there any discussion? All right. That motion is on the screen. Ms. Washington, if you'll just make sure that is correct.
That's correct.
All right. Board members, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We're going to move on now to item 10.0, board reports. And so we're going to go to now the board report. And in my hand, I have the clicker, which I've been told is the power. So, all right, if we could get our slide up. So I'll just go ahead and begin talking. So we had a really great retreat on last week where the board just really started digging in and looking at what we're going to be doing for our 2025-2026 school year. And this actually started with a couple of workshops that we had previously right before school ended, and just kind of went on into this season. So we've kind of had a theme. Last year was Boots on the Ground. This year is Mission Impossible. And so, it started out Mission Impossible. So that gives it a little bit away. But we had a speaker here, and our mission was to come and strengthen our understanding of one another as board members, finding a deeper collaborative trust, and to be able to get focused and look on depth on our strategic plan and aligning it with our board goals and evaluating basically where we stand and how we can go and achieve the highest level for student success and outcomes. So our goal for this board retreat was, by the conclusion of it, we would have a stronger sense of unity, a shared understanding of our strategic priorities, and clearly defined action as to steps aligned with our goals, positioning us to be able to work together, as well in driving Richland to be #1 in student outcomes. All right. So here's the team. And our mission, should we have chose to accept it, which we did, was to lead with vision, courage, and unity, transforming every challenge into an opportunity so that Richland 2 becomes the undisputed leader in student outcomes. This mission demands innovation, collaboration, and a relentless focus on what matters most, our student success. So one of the exercises that we did was called the compass exercise, and we discovered where our board members landed on the compass. While we didn't have anyone overwhelmingly represented in the South, which was for empathy, we do have an honorary board member who's in the South, and that's Ms. Tanedra Washington, our board assistant. She is very much a South, and she helps us make all of this happen. So she represents the South for us. This exercise gave us insight into how our fellow board members think and what drives them. The knowledge we gain will make us more cohesive and collaborative, give us a more collaborative working cadence. So a little bit about these people, the team, our technical team here. There's me. One of the things was I was in North, and so you can see there are some of the things. I won't go through all of them, but people who are in the North, and you might find that you identify with one of these people, and if you're one of those people, I'll high five you at the end. So we are quick to action. We express a sense of urgency for others to act now. We enjoy challenges that are presented by difficult situations and people, and we think in terms of the bottom line. Courageous, we persevere, we don't stop at hearing no. I once heard a lady say, no don't mean nothing to me when it comes to a plan that I've got to put in action. We like variety, novelty, new projects, and we're direct and we're decisive. So we also had to tell one unique fact that we found out about ourselves. And so Well, I'm a burgeoning gardener, so I'm new at this. So if you guys want to know anything about that, you can ask me later. Next up, we have Miss Tamika Washington, and she is vice chair. Her position was east. We actually had, I believe, 3 east, right? Is that right? As you will see here. And so I'll read the east for Miss Washington, but know that there are several other people here who are east as well. And so they're visionaries. They see the big picture. They're very idea-oriented. They focus on the future. They have insight into mission and purpose. They look for overarching themes and ideas. They like to experiment and to explore and have a higher sense of awareness. The fun fact we learn about Ms. Washington is she loves antiquing. All right. Next up, we have Dr. Scott. Now, Dr. Elkin Scott unfortunately had to be not here because she had to go to a funeral. But we are going to find out who she is. We guessed. It was said that you were a North. So we will find out if she is a North, and we will report back. Next up, we have Mr. Dennis. He is our legislative chair, and his compass position was also east, and we went over that. But a unique fact about him is he loved adventures, hobbies, scuba diving, and hang gliding, and that is something that he shares with Dr. Moore. We will not be going with them. All right, next up we have Mr. Trapp, and he smiled for this photo. And he also was an East. And so as you can see there, it was very cool to see, like, we had 3 East, we have me, a possible North, and another North. I imagine that do you know what you probably are, a North? East? East, a Northeast, okay. And so just being able to see how they work, I will say, and I'll just tell a little bit about that once we're all done here. But so Mr. Trapp, the unique thing you would know about him is that he loves buying and fixing up antique military vehicles, and he has invited us to join him at the Christmas parade, or we invited ourselves, one or the other. And then we have Miss Porter, and so she is a West, and also she shares that with Miss Williams. Now, these are going to be our people who are very data-driven. They are helpful to others by providing planning and resources when us quick-witted people are like, let's go. They move carefully and they follow procedure and guidelines. They use data and analyze and logic to make decisions. They're careful. They thoroughly examine people's needs and situations, and they work well with existing resources, and they get the most out of what has been done in the past. So, unique fact about Ms. Porter, she is a DIY queen, but she is particular, so she's not just going to invite you or tell you. She doesn't work with everybody, and so you have to put in an application to find out if you are able to work with her. And as you can see, she cares a lot about data, so if you're not good at math, I don't think she's going to let you be a part of her team. Next up, we have Miss Williams, who was also a West, and they were over there. I wish y'all could have seen them. They had lines and data, and it was like, this is not an Excel sheet, but they made one with markers. So that was interesting. And so the unique fact about Miss Williams, and you guys can be participants in this, we found out her unique quality is she does not have a hobby, and she is finding it. So we have put the pressure on her to find a hobby by the end of this year. But I will say, one of the things for me that was really interesting about this is at the beginning, just full disclosure, when you get on a board with people that you don't know and you all have different skill sets, if you don't take the time to really understand what that skill set is or why they make the decisions that they make, you might just think, oh my gosh, they just want us to spend all day doing data. And they might think about somebody like me, does she really even think through these ideas? But this whole exercise helped us to be able to think, like, we've got our big picture thinkers who we need to tell us, like, hey, here's the big picture. They're the people in the middle who keep us in line. And then I'm the person that's like, let's go, we got to go. And then we have our data people who are like, okay, but have we considered this? And we need all of those people. And I will say that this exercise was really great for me. I enjoyed it. And also, I know that we have a lot of great talent here. It is very rare that you get this kind of talent on a school board where you have people who understand data, people who are business owners, people who are understand facilities, it's just, it runs the gamut. I am thankful that we got to do this exercise, and it was very impactful. All right. So one of the things that we came out of this with is looking at our strategic plan. Where have we been? Where are we going? And how does the board we were very much challenged that the board get their own strategic plan as well as their focus. And so that's things that we're looking into doing, and we're going to do it. But where we are on our strategic plan timeline, what benchmarks have we achieved? Where are the opportunities for improvement? What areas can we celebrate achievements? Because celebrating is just as important as looking at the other things that we have to improve on. What parts of our strategic plan need to be updated? What should be included in our board priorities that drive the district strategic plan and superintendent goals and evaluation to provide focus for the future? Basically, how can we help that we're not like in the way, but how can we help and be effective in what we're doing for our time here on the board? So what's the next mission, should we choose to accept it? It is apply insight to the upcoming board meetings. You'll notice in the next few board meetings that we've changed our structure a little bit, that this meeting will be mostly, we'll do a couple of reports, both given by the board, and there'll be different board members who will give those reports, and then also a superintendent report, which will drill down on some data. And then our second board meeting of the month will be more workshop style. We'll work in collaboration with our administration team, who are also extremely and highly talented. So we're going to structure our board work in more collaborative manner. And so you're going to see that, where the board works more together. Advocating for resources that matter most, that's part of why we're here. And so when we have an idea and we know what we're doing as a board, we can get out there and advocate with our legislators and our community for the things that we need most. Align our resources to strategic goals, looking at that, having a better understanding of our budget. That's where we come in, knowing those things. Setting policy that drives results. Part of what we do is make policy. How can we make policy that empower our students, empower our administration to do the things that they need to do? Staying focused on student outcomes, not just outputs. What do our outcomes look like? That is the most important thing for us. And engage our community in our mission and what we're doing, letting them get excited about the things that we're doing. And then the part that somebody like me doesn't always love, because I don't like spreadsheets, I don't like Excel, but my data people do, my big picture people do, and that is making sure that we're tracking our progress and making so that we have more of accountability as a board and as a district. Okay, so I want to say thank you to our team. Mr. Kwame Simmons, we had I think I had a slide, I might have went through the slide too fast, but he was really, really great. He really challenged us in so many ways. And if you look, if you're somebody that's very you saw at the beginning, it started out Mission Impossible, and then the photo changed, and then we got glasses, and then it says Mission Possible now. So all you need is some sunglasses, some aviator pilot glasses, and then it goes from impossible to possible. So there you go. And then we have a special thanks to whom we could have not done any of this, and that is Ms. Tanedra Washington. You designed a beautiful retreat, and so I just want to say thank you. Everything was wonderful, and we had a wonderful time as well. And so there was music to this. Y'all cut my music out, and it was Mission Impossible, and it had a sound to it. And it was like, okay. But basically it said, this message will not self-destruct because our commitment is here to stay. So there you go. You guys didn't have to cut my music out. Just kidding. All right. But we had a great retreat. And I just am so thankful that we got to do this work and that we get to do this work. We're privileged to work with this team and everybody here. And so I just want to say thank you. And thank you to the board for everybody being there as well.
Madam Chair,
Oh, yes.
may I have a point of privilege?
Sure.
I just want to say thank you for your leadership in the retreat. It was very much enjoyable, and we had a great time. So we appreciate your work and your collaboration, you and board leadership. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we will go to 11.1, the superintendent's report. Now, I don't know if hers is going to be as splashy as mine. All right. So, all right.
It will not be as splashy as yours, and there was no music put in it either, but we'll work on that for the future, Madam Chair. Say again? Can I do them?
Oh, but the cameras are this way, he said. The cameras are this way. So, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Okay. So, as my PowerPoint is coming up, do you want to, Matthew, am I controlling this? Okay, got it. I want to also add, though, Madam Chair, that the retreat was a fun event. It was very interesting. The code names will remain secret because I did get confirmation that mine was accurate. And we're
Okay,
just going to leave it
good.
at that. But everybody's nodding their head. So I'm so excited tonight to share an update with the board. This will be on the following topics. To wrap up last year, so I'll give some spring highlights from 2025, the 2024-2025 school year. We'll talk about some of our summer activities, which included our summer reading camp, our middle school summer school program, our high school summer program. Talk a little bit about the professional development that's taken place over the entire summer, and then some staffing highlights that Dr. Scott recommended that I include it because it was some very good news when I shared it with her on the first day of school. So we'll start off with our spring highlights, and I hope that you can see there that what we're showing is our number of graduates. If you total up that last column for 2025, you'll see that we had 2,142 students graduate last spring. It was an awesome graduation time, and each of the ceremonies was just fabulous. Now, please understand that these numbers are not finalized. The state is still doing the work that it does, and they will not report that data out until October. But it does also include our adult education, because we had our 5 high school graduations, and we had our adult ed graduation, and then our summer graduation that is run by adult education. You will also see that on the next slide, with our number of graduates, when you look at how much scholarship money, you'll see that we've increased every year to where we are at now, which is a lot of money, right? We had 20 of our students through our early college program, our Abbott Early College program at Ridgeview High School. 20 graduated with their AA degree. We had 6 students complete the Richland 2 Career Prep Certificate program. And we had 11 total students that completed the South Carolina High School credential. And that's a new credential that the South Carolina State Department put into place for our SPED students. And then we had a total of 27 students who earned their GED through the adult education program. Next, you will see a highlight of something that is very important to me, because you hear me talk about this all the time, and that is around workforce development. And that starts with our college and career ready. So in 2025, those numbers are still being calculated, but we have our 2024 data. So 73.2% of our graduating cohort is college and career ready. And out of that same cohort, 71.1% is career ready. Why is that so important? It's important because we are the workforce developers for our county and for our state. And our goal is to ensure that we raise up the workforce that our businesses need in Richland too. We want to keep our students here, whether they go off to college and come back to us or enter into the workforce right away. We want to keep them here. You know, we talk about the 3 E's, that is enrollment, enlistment, and employment. And so enlistment, we want them to train at Fort Jackson. Of course, they cannot always be stationed here, but we want them to come back and retire here because we're one of the most friendly military communities in the United States. You'll also see that we had 598 career and technical education completers, 961 certifications, and 287 completers. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why is there a decline in that number? Well, part of that is because we have less programs available. If you remember, one of the things that has changed is in our health sciences. Our sports medicine programs, where our trainers were required to teach a class as well as to be a trainer, they are no longer required to teach the class. And the majority of them have opted not to teach the class, which has reduced the number of health science programs that we have. We are expanding other programs, and we hope in the future to add additional programs. But that is the reason for that decline in our industry certifications. Our internships, please remember that internships are defined by the South Carolina Department of Education. And with an internship, there are lots of opportunities, but most of them, once again, were in the health sciences. And there's some barriers that we continue to work through with employers. And those barriers include transportation, because we do not have a robust public transportation system in our part of the community, scheduling requirements also, and state requirements that define what qualifies for an internship. Transitioning now to our discipline and attendance, we're very excited that our level 2 offenses, although they did go up, our level 3 offenses went down, which is great, as well as our expulsions, which means we recognize the fact that students will make bad choices. The question is, how do we address those choices to ensure that we're helping our students make better choices? And so we are working, as you heard during the retreat, the presentation from Mr. Sherman and Ms. Hutchison around the work that they're doing there. We have also reduced our number of expulsions, meaning kids are staying in school where they can acquire the education that they need. Our repeaters for Blythewood did go up slightly, but we're also looking based on conversations we've had with the board around some different ways, as you've heard from Mr. Sherman and Ms. Hutchison, on wraparound supports to ensure that when students return back to their neighborhood schools, that they are better prepared to re-enter and be successful in the schools. Our chronic absenteeism has been a focus for the last several years, but over the last 2 years, as you can see, we have had a steady decline from that 21% down to 16.76%. And that is really a focus for our social work department, but more importantly, our schools at every level. They are taking a more proactive approach, reaching out to parents, tracking students' attendance as we've always done, but then trying to connect with the family to determine what are some solutions that we can work through with the parent to address the chronic absenteeism. We'll transition to one of my favorite topics, and that's the arts and advanced studies. And just want to make sure that when we think about the arts, we're thinking about all of the arts. It's not just our student artists, but our dancers, our performers. We are truly blessed in our district to have outstanding students that are active in the arts. And I also want to make sure that folks understand that in South Carolina, graduating students may earn a state seal of distinction in the arts. And so what do they need to do to get that? They have to have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, 4 credits in 1 or more art areas, with 2 being honors level or higher, so a total of 4 credits in a single art area if no honors level classes are offered. And they have to demonstrate mastery on an externally evaluated exam or performance task. So we have tons of national and state competitions that covers everything from music, theater, dance, the visual arts. They're all considered a part of that requirement to earn that certification. And as you can see, we have a number of students performing and meeting those requirements, both at the state and the national level. One of the events that we host in the spring is our Junior Scholars Banquet, and I know the board members attend that, so you can see that we've had an increase in that area, as well as an increase in our AP exams. The number of students who took 1 or more AP exams, and then the number of seniors who have successfully taken 2 or more dual enrollment courses with a C or higher, resulting in at least 6 college credits. Now, why is that so important? Well, as the mother of 5 children, anytime I can save money, it is beneficial. And for all the parents of those 376 students, they have saved their parents money for each one of those courses that they have taken. either AP with a score of 3 or higher, or a dual enrollment course with a C or better. Moving on to our magnet programs, as you know, we have excellent magnet programs in our district, and this is just an indication of the number of students that are in our magnet programs. We will be opening up our choice window again this year. It'll be in the November timeframe, November-December timeframe, for our parents to make a choice as to whether they want to retain or stay at their neighborhood school, as well as if they would like to explore other options to meet their students' needs. One of the things that we did this summer, we are required to host a summer reading camp. As you are aware, South Carolina law requires that if students do not meet a passing score on one of the assessments that is approved by the state, then we are required to offer summer reading camp. So that is for our third grade students. Next slide, please. Thank you. And we offered that summer reading camp this year at Bridge Creek Elementary, and you have the dates and times there that you can see. Now, I want the board to be aware of the fact that this is not optional for us, this is required. We do this because we want to ensure that we help every one of our students, each of them, be successful and reach their full potential. So with this reading camp, we had a staff of 39, 2 administrators, as you saw on the slide, a SPED specialist, an ML specialist, 12 teachers, instructional assistants, interventionists, for a grand total of, to support a grand total of 168 students. This year, the standards changed for the cut scores for students that had to attend the camp, or at least be offered the opportunity. And so the score went up. It used to be a 176, and now it is much higher than that. And so as a result of that, that's why we had 168 students who had to attend, or that we offered the opportunity to attend the reading camp. Now, if the score had remained the same, as you can see there, 85 of those students would have passed. However, with the higher score, we did have a pass rate of 23. Now, what happens to those other students? There is an appeal process that we go through. We can appeal, a parent can appeal based on good cause. And the state gives us what the good cause measures are. We are going through that process now. We've pretty much closed the gap on that and finished that, and we'll provide the board with an update on that once we have all of the data and it's clean data, let me say it that way. But I do want to highlight some things, because I don't want people to think that students were not successful if they didn't reach that cut score, because we had students make significant gains on their scores, a 10-point gain in a short period of time. Remember that for our ML students, it's not always that they're not capable. It could be because language is a barrier for them, as well as for our IEP, our students that have disabilities. It's not that the students aren't capable, it's how do we make sure we're meeting that student's need to help those students be successful. So we've seen tremendous growth, as you can see by our RIT score of 5.5. The progress that our students are making is tremendous, and it should not be lost on the fact that we have a cut score that the state has given us, and we are striving to meet, and we will meet with our students, but we also have to recognize that there is gain that's taking place, and our students are striving to be excellent in every one of the areas that they are tasked with. We also had our middle school summer program, and that was primarily for students that needed course recovery or additional academic support in grades 6 through 8. And as you can see there, we had programs in English, language arts, math, science, and social studies. It was held at E.L. Wright, where you will see that we had 96 students who participated, and we had a student success rate of 99%. So they attempted 133 classes, and out of that, they successfully completed 132. For high school, we offered both virtual and an on-site summer program, once again targeting students that had needed credit recovery or additional academic support. And we offered courses in Algebra 1, 2, Biology, Chemistry, Geometry, English 1 through English 3, U.S. History. They would not let me teach chemistry. They said I had some other things I needed to do. So we had 51 of our students participate in that with a success rate of 96%. And this is important because it keeps students on track with their cohort for graduation. And that's where our graduation rate that we talked about earlier is directly impacted. So 51 credits attempted and 48 credits completed in the areas of Algebra, English 1, and English 2. If that wasn't enough, we also did summer professional learning for teachers. We offered 43 different sessions, primarily around math and the science of reading. As you are aware, we have a brand new math curriculum for this year, and so we offered lots of professional learning for math, for our math teachers, so that they would be ready for that first day of school for our students. And then we are obviously continuing our work around the science of reading and making sure that all of our teachers are certified, that need to be certified in that particular area. So we had over 2,000 participants, and we paid over almost $301,000 in stipends for those that attended the trainings. And then the last area I'm going to talk about is staffing, because one of the things we've worked on very, very much this year is staffing. We want to make sure that every classroom at the beginning of the year had a certified teacher in the classroom. We wanted to make sure that every bus had a certified student transportation specialist on it. We wanted to make sure that every school front office was properly staffed, as well as the additional staff. And I'm very proud to say, as you look at these numbers, that we have made significant strides in our retention and recruitment. We started off last year, 2024-2025, with 60 classroom teachers vacancies and 19 other certified staff positions. Well, this year, 2025-2026, we started with just 25 classrooms that needed teachers and 15 other certified positions. This is more than a 50% reduction in the overall certified staff vacancies, which is less than 2% of the 2,413 certified positions that remained unfilled. So we are very excited about that work, and part of that, a large part of it, we contribute to the board because of the actions the board took during the budget and the last 2 years to ensure that we were recognizing the contributions of our staff and giving them a financial reward for that. What did we do to get these outstanding results? Well, we had both virtual and local career fairs, as well as outreaches to all of our local colleges and universities to attract candidates. The board gave a sign-on bonus and an employee referral bonus. We streamlined the hiring process for managers to improve efficiency, and we utilized our international agencies to have alternative certification pathways. So what are we going to be doing going forward? We want to make sure that we are continuing to reach out, especially in the area of special education, middle school social science, speech language pathology, and school psychology. These are hard to fill areas, but we are being very aggressive in that approach, and we remain committed to reducing the number of vacancies across the board. But we're very pleased with the numbers that we have, and that's been a focus of ours around our campaign And that's why you see all of the information that we've been sharing. And with that, I will conclude my comments and open it up to the board for any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Moore. Board members, are there any questions and/or comments?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Porter. Oh, sorry, Ms. Porter.
Okay,
Got the buzzer first.
absolutely.
Got to be faster. I'm just kidding.
Yes, so in our board retreat, we were challenged by Mr. Simons to ensure that we're requesting data in the way in which we can actually be able to come up with summative conclusions. And I would say that in the future, or maybe even as a follow-up, it would be helpful to get percentages for our graduation rates to actually know what these numbers mean, because obviously the number of students change. So that's just one thing that I noted that would be helpful. And I saw that you had plenty of staff for the different summer camps. That was good. And then, but I was curious to know if attendance was an issue, especially for elementary, and then what curriculum may have been used during the summer reading camp. And if we could possibly, in the future, use a chart or visual to see that as well. It was hard to consume some of those numbers. I noticed that the middle school and high school had the student success rates, but we were missing the student success rates for the elementary. So that would be beneficial as well, just so that we can do a full comparison of that data. And other than that, thank you so much for the report. It was thorough, and I appreciate it.
Dr. Elkin Scott.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Moore, just want to say thank you so much for the detailed report. I think that was very beneficial to show us exactly where we were. And then I know you have a plan for where we're going, so I do appreciate the details of your report. Thank you.
See what happens when you let those data people loose.
Madam Chair.
Me either. Oh, sorry, Mr. Dennis. I almost forgot about you. Sorry. Yes.
So, Dr. Moore, thank you for the report. I did want to highlight something in there, the chronic absenteeism. I know this district has pushed very, very hard. So thank you to everybody in the district that's done that, and thank you to the parents that have responded. So thank you for that. That's it.
Is that everybody? Okay. All right. We're going to move on to item 12.0, agenda items for the next meeting. Let's take a look at the draft agenda for the August 2026, 2025 regular board meeting. And if someone would, because we have moved the, okay, you got it. Okay. Just the minority report added on there. Okay. All right. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is August 26, 2025. The call to order will be at 5:30 p.m. We will have the welcome and pledge of allegiance, followed by the approval of the agenda. Next, we will release to executive session. During the executive session, we will discuss a contractual matter regarding the purchase of property, student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations, and certified releases. Release back to public session will be at 6:30 p.m., followed by public participation, and then voting on our executive session items, which would include the contractual matter regarding the purchase of property, student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations and certified releases, and as needed for items discussed in executive session. We'll move then to new business action requested, request to revisit the 2026-2027 school year calendar. And we would be adding our procurement minority report to that. Okay? New business, no action requested. We will have a discussion, the board will have a discussion on policy JII, student concerns, complaints, and grievances. a discussion around the administrative rule of ARKI-R visitors, an internal auditor's report, this will be an annual report, procurement update, and student discipline report. Next, we'll move to agenda items for the next meeting, which would be the draft agenda for the September 9th, 2025 regularly scheduled board meeting, and our if needed items of public participation, executive session, voting on executive session items, and conclude with adjournment.
Okay. Board members, are there any revisions or additions you would like to see made to this agenda, this next meeting agenda, or a future agenda? All right. Well, we will now move on to item 16.0, board highlights. And this agenda item is a section where we're going to do a special recognition of the 2024-2025 officers of the Richland District 2 School Board. All right, Dr. Moore. Well, while she's doing that, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask Ms. Darcy Rush, our Senior Chief of Communication and Strategic Partnerships, to come to the podium to present the awards to the board.
Good evening, Dr. Moore, Board Chair Nash. Tonight, we are honored to recognize the former board officers who so capably and faithfully served during the 2024-2025 school year. So as you come forward, I believe Ms. Tanisha Washington is going to take photos as you receive your recognition this evening. Dr. Scott, we extend our heartfelt appreciation because you provided steadfast leadership as chair of the Richland 2 School Board from June 2024 through June of this year. Thank you. Next, we recognize Ms. Nikki Porter, whose dedication and collaborative spirit guided her work as vice chair during the same period.
Board of Trustees, June 2024, June 2025, presented on this day, August 12th, 2025.
And finally, we acknowledge Ms. Tamika Washington, who brought care and commitment to her role as secretary from June 2024 to June 2025. Congratulations and thank you again for all of your outstanding service and unwavering commitment to the students, staff, and families of Richland 2. Dr. Moore?
Thank you, Ms. Rush. Point of privilege, Madam Chair. Because I have the privilege to work closely with the board officers, I just wanted to offer my thank you to Ms. Washington, who I call the policy queen, to Ms. Porter, who is the data queen, and to Dr. Scott, who always modeled care for our students in everything that she did. While we always didn't have just pleasantries, we had some intense conversations, but they were always respectful, professional, and always student-focused. And so thank you, Dr. Scott, for your leadership. I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies.
All right, now we're going to do board highlights, and this is going to be the portion of where you tell about something positive and fun that you had on your first week of school visit. So first up, Dr. Elkin Scott, you are the lady of the night. You are up first.
I thought officers would go last. But anyway, I had an opportunity to visit, so far, 10 schools. Still have, 30 more to go, so I'm very excited about that. But always want to focus on my Lonnie B. Nelson student, because if you remember this story, last year, I went in and I spoke to the first grade class, because if you're elementary principal, just know when I visit your school, I want to see first grade, because that's my heart and my joy. So I walked into this first grade classroom, and I shared with the students about how I work for them, and anything they need or want, just reach out to me and let me know what I can do for them. Well, one of the young ladies said, "Well, we need your number." And I went, wow. So I gave her my number, and she called me. So I said, only if your mother gets on the phone and she gives me permission to talk with you. So she shared some things that Lonnie B. Nelson need, more recess time, if they want seconds or third for lunch, just some cute little things. So this year, I was so excited to go back. And I said, she's not going to recognize me, but if she does, I'm not going to say a word. So we walked in the classroom, and before I could get in the door, I was with Dr. Moore and a few others. She went, oh, I said, oh, she recognized me. And all I said was, I'm so excited to be here. You guys have a great school year. So that's my story. So that's it for me.
Ms. Porter.
Thank you. Well, you said first day of school?
Oh, no, the week.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mention that I enjoyed the Fiesta Conexiones that we had right prior to school starting, and had a great time seeing all of the kids and the things that they were able to receive by attending the event, and that was really nice. And then also the Back to School Bash was, of course, a hit this year. And then I went to the 803 Day Pre-Mixer, and I wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Kali Gallman, because she put together a great slew of events for that weekend. But thoroughly enjoyed that pre-mixer and met some business owners that were also interested in becoming a minority business partner. So now I have the phone number and the organization and address of some checks that they need to go through, which will be helpful in communicating with community members. I visited, I have a lot more schools to visit, trying to keep up with Dr. Scott over there. But I was able to visit with 6 schools, and they are off to a great start. Love the improvements in the new building spaces. I enjoyed seeing CFI's new music and art space. They were once in portables, and it looked really good. Summit Parkway's new wing is phenomenal. Their city and innovation room is amazing, and their science class back there. Also got a chance to visit with Spring Valley, Ridgeview's safety. I got a chance to see that in action. And then Pontiac, I was able to visit as well. I missed some things on that Pontiac visit, but I'm gonna have to circle back for sure. And then Catawba, I love their plan and the 2 floors and how they've used their space there. So it was a great visit.
Next up, Mr. Trapp.
Oh, thank you. I just want to share one experience I had on first day of school. I decided that I would like to visit the bus hub on Killian Road, because I knew Dr. Moore was going to be there, and it was at 6 in the morning, so let me assure you it was very early. But I saw one thing there that really impressed me, and I'm not sure if I should thank these individuals or express sympathy or what, but I'm so grateful to our bus drivers that they really, it's a lot of work to get up and be on the job at 6 in the morning, but their children that come with them to the depot and then have to get on the bus that goes to their school, those are the real troopers out there, guys. I mean, oh gosh, I couldn't imagine having to get up that early and spend that much time on the bus. But we really appreciate the drivers, and we appreciate your children and their endurance to make all this happen. That's all I want to mention. Thanks.
And didn't you get a highlight on the news?
There was a news crew there, and fortunately, I didn't see anything I said on the news. Thank you.
Ms. Washington.
So first day, I really enjoyed visiting Polo Road, and we walked into a kindergarten class, language immersion, and to just listen to all of the language that was being shared in the classroom. And the kids were so attentive on the first day. Like, the teacher she didn't speak any English. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool to just watch them progress. She was taking them on a tour of the classroom, and some of them wanted to hold shoulders, some of them did not, because they were in their fresh kicks and braids and everything. But it was fun. I had a chance to walk with Dr. Hill and her team. Then we went over to visit the Wolves at E.O. Wright and saw great lines on the first day of school with 8th graders. Listen, that was amazing. And then in the cafeteria at CFK, lots of laughter, students sitting down enjoying their first day. I also enjoyed celebrating the district finalists. And I just want to recommend that we add the last E for entrepreneurship, because many of our students are going through cosmetology, barber, and trades, and many of them will go and work for themselves right after high school. So I would love to see us add entrepreneurship as an E.
All right, next up, Mr. Dennis.
Well, so the first week of school, I don't need that because I can hear myself. I can gladly say that it started off, and I bet you Spring Valley thinks, man, this guy's going to work here or something, because I actually got to start the first day of school and first week of school attending with my son because he's a rising freshman. So I got to go through all the parent stuff and trying to hide in the back and things like that, and that didn't work. People recognized who I was and started asking questions, and that was a good thing. But the first day of school, I dropped him off. I got to greet kids, help them get out of the cars at Spring Valley, and then I went to Anna Boyd. Now, Anna Boyd doesn't have kids in it. So somebody said, well, why'd you go there? I was like, well, that's where we have our virtual teachers. That's where we have our pre-K center. That's where they come up with all the stuff. That's the meat and potatoes of getting our pre-K kids. And then I also got to talk to our wonderful staff over there that deals with the money for our Title I funds and seeing how that's going to be played in there. And it was just really nice to talk to them, because getting to know everybody in the district, that has been something I've been trying to do, and I enjoy doing it. So I really enjoyed going there. And then from there, I went over to Richland Northeast. And Richland Northeast, that was a phenomenal visit there. They showed me some programs going on, and then they've invited me back when they get things going up for the cosmetology and they get their media stuff going again. So I can't wait to go back to see that. And got to talk to a few students out front and got to ask them a question: what are your goals for this year? And one of them said, I want to make straight A's for the first time ever. I was like, okay, it can be done, because if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I did it once myself. And then from there, I got to go over to Lonnie B. Nelson. Yes, that student remembered her. As soon as she went in the door, her face lit up, and I was like, well, there's going to be a lot of questions, but it was no questions this time. But it was great to see the students at Lonnie B. Nelson, and it was great to actually see Lonnie B. Nelson, because that was the school that started off for my family in Richland too. And then from there, I left and I went over to Bookman Road. I went over there and helped exit the young ones. I figured I start off the day with the older kids, and I'm going to end the day with the young kids and help them get in cars and things like that. So it was a really good trip through the day. This week's been great. I had a great visits today because it was for, and were we allowed to say this? Okay, yeah. So we had a bunch of great visits today for the Teacher of the Year finalists, so that was really unique today as well. So this first week of school, really or I guess first 2 weeks, has been great, and I cannot wait for the rest of this year. So that's what I got.
I do have a question. You said you're going back for cosmetology. Are you getting your hair did? Okay.
No. Not that I don't trust them, but if I did, my hairdresser she'll come down here and get me.
Okay.
But she is a product of Richland too.
Well, there we go. Okay, there, we'll take it. All right, Ms. Williams?
All right, I just want to, I was able to, right before school started, to visit some new principals within the district for their Meet the New Principals. Had thoroughly enjoyed that and welcome all of our new administrators into the district. I was able to visit the first day of school, just 2 schools right now, but Joseph Kills, I had a great opportunity of, my hardest elementary school. You gotta wake up so early in the morning to get to elementary schools and then be in traffic. But shout out to everybody who does car duty, right? Because car duty is something to open up the doors and, not necessarily get the kids out the car seats, but, especially with those heavy book bags the first day that kind of topple them over trying to get out the car and you're holding, things. So I kind of miss those things, but real shout out to everybody who does car duties and trying to make sure the line still progresses. I had the privilege of going to Joseph Kills for that. I also had the privilege of going to Dent Middle School, thoroughly enjoyed Dent Middle School. I will say that they have really, really done well with minimizing the traffic on Decker because I was really skeptical of, I'm going to get stuck in this traffic just trying to get here. But once the line started, it was like clockwork. And I appreciate that, especially for our schools that are on busy thoroughfares such as that. And again, shout out to the bus drivers who got our kids there. They were energized. I was able to see the kids get off the bus. The kids were super excited in that process. Every teacher I ran into, they were like really nice and friendly, smiling faces. I had the opportunity to walk through the school, meet the SRO, even the shout out to Officer Williams, Anthony Williams, who is the over SROs for Richland School District 2. He was there as well to greet his staff and just being really open to families and as well as the teachers. So I appreciate that, and I look forward to get around to all the schools and just meeting everyone throughout this process of school year.
Oh, I guess it's me. I have some things to say. One, I started the day with Dr. Moore. I was never, and Ms. Rush, I was never in the same place with them when we started. I had to keep finding them. But it was a great day, great start to the day. At one point, what I realized is everybody is excited about the breakfast. Wherever there is breakfast, everybody is excited, and I can get behind that. Also, Dr. Scott, if you ever want to know how to cut your paper, she's very skilled with telling you how to cut and don't make any, what did you say? Don't keep any, you got to keep one cut. She was giving lessons, kids were involved, they were very focused. We also went and saw some airplanes get flown, and that was really awesome. They were doing some STEM exercises, and that was great. And then me and Ms. Porter, we were at Ridgeview, and I'm just going to say, I think the student thought we were students too. When she walked up to us, she walked up to us and she had a little problem, a challenge with the dress code. And Ms. Porter said, "What's going on here?" And she said, "Who are y'all?" And we were like, "We're the school board." And then she said, "Oh," but then we got a photo. But I think she thought we were one of the kids. But it was really great to see everybody and to see the teachers, and I think we're all very, very excited for what's to come. I also invited myself to a couple of bake-offs and the chili cook-off. They were serious. Okay. I've gotten confirmation they were serious, I can come to that. So I'm excited just to go and visit all the schools this year. And excited for you guys all to be here on your first week, and I hope your first week was as great and fun as ours. And if not, just hang out with us a little bit, and we'll show you how to have some fun while you're doing the hard work that you do. All right, Dr. It was your
That's
turn.
just a point of.
It's your point. Yes,
Just a point of privilege. We do have two new staff members here with us tonight, and I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce them. We have our Senior Chief of Operations, Mr. Mark Hutton, who is over, if you remember the reorganization, he now oversees technology and operations, has the largest department in our district of about 500 people. So we welcome Mark, and for those that may not know, he is a retired colonel from the United States Army, HUA, and was the former deputy commander for Fort Jackson. So we're very excited to have Mark join our team here at Richland too. And then we have someone that's very familiar to the board because she was one of our amazing principals for years and now works in our HR department, our executive director, Ms. Kendra Hill. And you know Kendra, she's just amazing. And between her and Dr. Adams, they are just putting some of those great things in place that we talked about with the reduction in our vacancies. And so wanted to welcome both of them. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I actually got to meet Mark. Mark, do you remember when I got to meet you? Yes. And so I checked him out for y'all. He's okay. All right. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Washington.
I move to adjourn the August 12th, 2025 board meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, the motion's been made by Ms. Washington, seconded by Mr. Dennis. He raised his hand. Board members, if we can get a hand of votes, because if you're, okay, everybody raise your right hand. That looks like everybody's in favor of yes. Any noes? Okay, the vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful evening.